guys. In this video we're going to be painting my car, if you couldn't tell by the thumbnail and the title of the video, of course. But first I actually have to, go to where we're going to be painting the car. So I will see you all when we get there. I have arrived at the place where I'll be painting my car. Now, you can't have a good sense of progress without a before and after shot. So before we put the car in the shop, let's set our reference up. The lighting just happened to be perfect for the occasion and will allow us to see most, if not all, the imperfections. With that being said, there are plenty of dents on this car, as well as some damage from cosmetic mods of choice from the previous owners that I would like to attempt to fix. Overall, I am quite happy with the current color of the car, but the paint is for sure damaged. And the biggest reason for tackling this project is because the clear coat is incredibly thin. The first item on our to-do list is to take the hood vent out. Not only does this part need to be painted and cleared just like the rest of the car, but taking it out will make painting the hood easier. This vent is unpainted, which makes it look like it doesn't belong and makes it virtually impossible to detail.
You don't say!
After the vent is off, we need to scuff the surface up so the paint has something to adhere to. We don't need to go crazy with the scuffing because there's nothing to take off, so we are using Scotch-Brite 600 pads to do the job. Once the surface is all scuffed up, we need to wipe it down with isopropyl alcohol, also known as rubbing alcohol, to remove any debris that will prevent the paint from sticking to the vent. You could probably get away with water and or just spraying it with air, which we did spray the vent with air, but we just wanted to be extra safe with our approach, so we used rubbing alcohol as well. After we finish prepping the vent for paint, our next step is to actually paint the vent. Normally, you prime all of the parts you are going to paint for better adhesion. However, we don't have enough primer to do every part of the car, only what was necessary to prime. So as a countermeasure, the very first coat goes on very light, like 20 to 30% coverage kind of light.
This already looks so much better.
This helps provide a layer for the paint to adhere to better and in a way allows us to bypass the use of primer. Although, if you have the time and the budget, as well as the desire for the best results possible, you should prime before laying down paint. After waiting for the paint to flash or simply to dry for 30 minutes, we can lay the next coat, which will go from that 20 to 30% coverage to somewhere around 90% coverage. We don't want to go so heavy that we create drips, plus an additional coat will make it last longer. The last coat of paint goes on the same thickness as the last. The goal is to just get that last 10% coverage we are missing, and to do it without drips. So I just put another coat on this, and man does that look beautiful. Like, I put the final coat on. I found a good spray can because we were using one that's just, didn't actually have a fan adjuster. And that is absolutely beautiful. So I will tune you guys in back when we're ready to clear coat this. Real quick, I wanted to mention, because I didn't do it earlier, we are, or I say we, but it's just me, we're using Rust-Oleum Black for this. We were originally just using like a POS spray can, and it got most of the color down for us, but this is just so much better because it has fan adjustability. And if you look at the back here, it's got high output, standard, low output, vertical fan, and then a horizontal fan. I use the vertical fan, which is number 4 on this, and then you just want to go nice and slow. Basically, you want to put down as much paint as you want as possible without creating runs, and then you want a 75% overlap, and then you just, if possible, you don't want to stop. But I got lucky when I got here because this table is kind of big, and I was able to go around the other side and pick it back up. So if you guys are doing something like this on your own, this isn't like a complete tutorial on how to do it, but I figured I would share my process. So I will see you guys when I'm ready to put clear coat on this. Before we can put the clear coat on, we need to wait for the paint to become mostly tackless. This usually takes double the flash time, or in this case, an hour. So me and my buddy tackle some of the panel alignment issues this car has from being in some accidents before I bought the car. One of those issues being the panel gaps aren't even on both sides of the hood. It is so bad that the hood actually rubs against the tip of the fender. The other main panel alignment issue comes from the doors and the front bumper, but we will tackle those after the car is entirely painted. Since we make short work of the hood alignment, we decide to take the front bumper off and progress towards being able to tape off. This is a pretty simple process. There are some bolts on the top of the bumper, along the bottom, attaching the bumper to the splash shield, and along the fender wells. Since we need to halfway detach the fender wells, we decide to entirely take them out. It'll just simply make taping the fenders off easier. Unfortunately, I only have one camera, and it's time to go apply some clear coat to the hood vent. So now we're actually ready for clear coat. So technique is relatively going to be the same. I'm probably going to do a light, very light pass with the clear coat just to help with the adhesion. The paint is still tacky, so adhesion really should not be an issue. Holy crap, this is like super hard to open. There we go. So 75% overlap. It's a little bit harder with a spray can like this, plus the wind is not really helping. As I mentioned, the process for clear coating is the same as actually painting the part. A very light first coat, then 2 medium to heavy coats following it up. Even with a spray can, you want to try to maintain a 75% overlap with your spray. Don't be shy, it won't create runs unless you are moving very slow and are very close to the part you're painting or clearing. However, if you have the ability to spray everything with a gun, then you will most likely get better results with that. And if you don't have that luxury, try to find spray cans with adjustable fans, as they are easier to control and they just simply leave a better finish. So now we gotta let this sit. I know it's not like entirely covered. This doesn't have the fan that this does, unfortunately. So it's really hard to just, control it. I think on my next coat, I might shut this barn door, which will make visibility really tough in here. But I mean, at least I'll be able to control it a little bit more. So I'll see you guys in about, for you, it'll be probably next clip or montage or whatever. But for me, it'll probably be like 30 minutes. After the last coat of clear coat, we need to let it cure for a minimum of 12 hours. But if you have the time, you should ideally wait 24 hours before doing anything to the clear coat. While I finish up the clear coat, my buddy got the front bumper off the car. What we need to do now to make painting the bumper easier is to take out all the grills and trim pieces, which if you have ever taken out a bumper trim, you know sometimes the trim can be very feisty. To take out the grills and trim pieces, most of it is actually plastic clips that snap together like a massive, very expensive Lego set. Which is nice because it makes it easier to assemble and take apart, but if something breaks, it's not so easy to fix. After finishing up the bumper, I decide to move towards the back of the car. At the back of the car, we need to remove the spoiler because it blocks spots that need paint, and the taillights because they would be a hassle to tape up perfectly. To remove the spoiler, there are 3 screw holes on each leg of the spoiler. However, my spoiler only had 2 screws on each side. To access those screws, you need to remove the top felt trim from the deck lid, which is held in by plastic push clips. And there are 2 rubber press fit holes that you have to work the felt through.
So this is what your paint is supposed to look like.
This is what the original paint looked like. Hold on.
Hang on.
Yeah, go ahead and take a look at how beautiful that is. This is what the original paint is supposed to look like, and now show them what the actual paint looks like. That's crazy. That is a crazy difference. I've actually never seen the inside of my trunk.
Like, it's supposed to be that dark, and it's really...
To remove the taillights, you need to remove the side trunk lining on both sides and the plastic trim that covers the trunk latch. The lights are held in by 3 bolts, and 2 of them are shared with the plastic cover trim. So while I was working on taking the taillights off and the spoiler off, my buddy over here was finishing up the front end for me, taking off the clips. Oh man, this is a mess. They forgot to prime, and it's just peeling everywhere. This right here, this is so flaky.
Oh my god!
And there's sanding marks on the bottom of this. Oh my lord!
This is my first time seeing it flipped over.
And honestly, we don't even need to tape this because this will be covered here. So I think he's got one more thing over here to take off, and then the front end is ready for paint. Aside from, of course, you know, we have to sand it down and prep it still, but ready for paint. And then I think while he's finishing this up, I'm going to start tackling that thing up there, as well as this thing. These are the side skirts. I got to take the molding off, and then those are ready for paint. And I think I'd like to do those first because my car has good enough side skirts, and if something goes wrong with these ones, I can just, you know, figure it out and come back another time and paint the car.
You should probably tell them where you got these side skirts from.
Oh, so I got these side skirts from Glenn's Auto, which is in Taylor, Michigan, which is like, it's like 10-20 minutes south of Detroit. I picked up both of them for like $550. They were a pair off the same car. These ones are gray, and while they look like they're not in the best condition, sorry, my tripod is hitting the ground. I promise you it's just dust, and you know, it'll clean up and look really nice. You know, it's a shame that the paint is really nice on these because it's about to not be. So, all right, I will, I don't really know what I'm doing next. I'll probably take these apart and, yeah. After removing the spoiler and taillights, I am itching to start painting. So I start removing the molding from the side skirts I bought. This allows me to just paint the side skirt with no tape. To remove the molding from the side skirt, you need to drill out the 2 rivets on each end, which I will eventually replace with a push pin clip. Then the rest of the molding is just clipped in using the same clips as the bumper trim. So my buddy has the camera right now. I guess he's a little camera shy and doesn't want to talk. This is the grill, the GT500 grill. I guess my girlfriend let the dog out, big mistake. But we have all of these parts here that we've taken off the car. These 3 parts right here are going to be painted off the car. And then all those parts and of course the fender wells are going to be put back on the car after it's all painted. We're about at the point where we're going to start taping, and then we're going to start sanding and then get ready to actually lay some paint down. At least I think. What else do we have to do? Do you know?
Nothing that I know of other than take the door panels off so we can take the mirrors off.
We have to take the mirrors off. But other than that, I think we're chilling. I think before we do those side skirts, we might try to buff this. This seems pretty dry. It's still leaving marks. So I guess we might leave it another 30 minutes or so before we have to, you know, hit it with some wet sanding. Honestly, maybe we just put it over there, let it dry until, you know, start painting these, prep these, paint them on this table, which is what this is set up here for. And then come back and then wet sand this and polish it up after, you know, say a 12-hour period or so the clear coat is cured enough. So I'm very happy with how this turned out. This was like a unpainted originally, and it had like a bunch of oil spots on it, and it just looked really bad. But once this goes back on the car, it's gonna look like it actually belongs. So again, my buddy is Mr. Cameraman. My car is in pieces, as you can see, but we are, I think we have one more task to do, technically 2, 3, I guess. We have to take off both of the mirrors because if you look right in here, there's like a little ledge here, and there's just no way we can get paint up in there, let alone a sander to prep that area. So we have to take the mirrors off on both sides, and then we have to kind of prep the area around us before we can actually start taping off and plasticking off the car, and then start doing the body work, because this car has body work. If you come over here, this is not dust or dirt. This is a scratch. And then the door panels don't align properly. There's a bunch of nicks and scratches all over the place. And then most notably, if you come over here, ignore the dirt spot from where the spoiler was, but look at these sanding marks here. Absolutely horrible. Like this panel doesn't even feel smooth. It feels like 80 grit against my hand. And then there's stuff right up in here as well that needs to be redid. And then there's also like, there's a bunch of like sanding marks and like gouges here. This goes all the way down to the metal. They just painted over it. And then finally, and arguably the hardest part about this entire build, this panel is pushed in, causing the rear bumper to not clip in properly. Ignore that. Other than that, I think would you say we're on pace?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. This, knock on some wood, but things have been going pretty smooth so far. Aside, like, we haven't had any major hiccups. Aside from like pulling panels apart. Sometimes they just fight you, but that's normally what happens. Now we're getting into the serious stuff. Once we start sanding the car, there really is no going back. So I think what I'd really like to do, before we act, like, we'll take the mirror caps off, and then before we actually start taping up the car, I think I want to do those the side skirts, the replacement parts that I got, sand those down, prep it. I don't think we'll need to prime it because the paint underneath is still really good. Just like most of the car here, the clear coat is just dull for the most part. In some areas we will actually need to prime because we'll have to sand all the way down to bare metal. But yeah, I really like the idea of using those side skirts as a test piece before we actually do work on the car, because once sanding starts on this car, there really is no going back. And if we mess it up, which we only have like one shot at this, would you say? We don't have enough paint to do this twice.
Like, we have enough paint to mess up once on like a fender.
Yeah. It also depends on like how heavy we go as well. Like, and I'll go more into like my paint strategy when we actually get there, but for the most part, I only have enough paint to go all over the car once. So, and it's the same, I have a lot more clear coat than I do paint. So we can really build up the clear coat, but other than that, we really don't have room for error here. So we have to get this right, or at least as close to right as possible. And my confidence is definitely up after painting the vent for the hood, because I figured if I can do it with a vent, like a fan on a spray can, I can do it with a spray gun. That's going to put a lot more paint down, right? It's going to look a lot nicer, at least I think. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start taking the mirrors off, and then we'll go into the other part of the barn and start, painting. So, in order to take the mirror caps off, we have to take the door card off. And in order to do that, there are 2 bolts on the bottom, and there is a bolt right through here. You just get it in there, fish it up, and pull. It's just like that. And then there's 1 clip, and then it slides out. Alright, now that all the bolts are out, the way that this works, you can really start from anywhere. I like to start from here and then work my way around. And then the door has a fixed like part, or like it's almost like a catch. So after you undo all the clips, you're gonna lift the door up and then out. Oh, I lied. You have to take this panel off. So there's 5 bolts here. Take this panel off. I can't believe I forgot about this. The speaker is a little bit easier. It's just like the window actuator. It's down here somewhere. There's also like a wiring harness right here that you can take off. So in order to take the mirror off, we have to take both of the door speakers out. We have to take this one out in order to access the 4th bolt and the last bolt that holds the mirror on. And we have to take the subwoofer one out, which you can't see because the door card's in the way, in order to unclip the wire harness for this. So it turns out there's actually 2 bolts up there. 3?
All right. How many total?
There's 2 here. There's 1 up through here, and then there's 2 here.
So that's a total.
Unless these
6.
don't actually hold in the mirror. They might not actually hold in the mirror.
Well, only one way to find out. On today's video,
Fuck around and find out.
the more you around, the more
I still
you
have to find that
out.
screw. Alright. Oh, that was it. That was the clip that we were missing. I'm trying to help you fish it through.
You can get it.
That's one side done.
Hooray! You can tell I'm getting sleepy.
So, we are now in the process of prepping this for paint. We have just come to the unfortunate discovery that our sanding paper is not big enough to run this on. And that sucks because this was going to make our job so much easier, and now we're going to have to wrap the sandpaper on the block in some kind of way to make it so we can, just have an easy, applicable way to sand this. Anyways, we'll make it work. I mean, it's midnight. We have to make it work. Like, no one is open. So, we gotta sand this, clean it off, and then we're gonna get to mixing paint. So, now that we are actually trying to remove the previous clear coat and paint, we are using sandpaper. Specifically, we are using 800 grit sandpaper. After we remove 85 to 95% of the material and color, we follow the 800 grit with 2000 grit to remove sanding marks. A disclaimer though, jumping from 800 to 200 grit is a big jump, and depending on your sandpaper, you will eat through lots of it just to remove the sanding marks left behind by the 800 grit. It is highly advised to actually use 1000 grit opposed to 800. Additionally, if you still struggle to remove sanding marks, add a 1500 grit sandpaper step before 2000 grit. Just like the hood vent, after we are done sanding, we will remove the debris from the surface of the part to allow the paint to adhere properly.
Alright, so this is kind of a new angle. We're getting ready to paint. We're using these masks since it's a small project.
I'm not bringing it over there.
Okay. As long as you got the vodka. Step 1. Sound till it is gray with scratches. Step 2. Blow it off. Make sure you get all dust off. Step 3. Get ready to paint.
So, nothing fancy. We don't have an air compressor that can handle an actual professional spray gun. So we are we are using an Avanti spray gun. I have no clue what model this is. This is just what my grandpa had, and I'm gonna use what we have available. I've heard that like electric spray guns are not the best, but I've also seen comparably good results with a electric spray gun and a air spray gun. It's more or less in the technique and less in the actual gun, as long as you have to understand the quirks of the gun, which is why we're doing a test piece first before moving on to my car. The color I am using is called Super Marine Blue from dipyourcar.com. As you can see, there is color for sure, but there's still a lot of gray. Honestly, I think he, like Caden, went a little too heavy on the color for the first coat. Obviously, we scuffed this up though, and we, I guess the point is, like, there is still, I would say there's like 40% color and 30% gray/black, whatever was on it previously. So just keep that in mind when you're painting, like without priming and stuff. You want to be like really, really light, and then you want to let it flash first before you do another coat. Usually that's about 30 minutes or so. I hate to interrupt you, but look at how, like, even though like this is like not full color, look at how beautiful that is.
But yeah, no, it grabs on like Velcro to the scratched up surfaces. So by sanding it down, it gives it a groove to pretty much interlock in, and that's what causes the first coat to really be your base coat. In the painting world, we go prep, base, second, done,
and then clear.
And then your clear is your final project, but we'll get to that at a later time.
Yeah. In the meantime, while we wait for this to flash, I think we're gonna go get some food. I think it's like 12:30 o'clock at night, and we haven't eaten in like 8 hours.
It is currently 1 a.m.
That's crazy. So, yeah, we're gonna go get some food
and
come back, and then we're gonna put another layer on. I remember finding a video of someone using this color before, and it looked very eggplant purple, which obviously is not blue at all. However, they were using a peelable version of the paint, and with that, you can't buff the paint or clear coat it because you will ruin its purpose either way. So knowing that the color could look like eggplant purple, opposed to a nice deep blue like the website had shown, I decided to bite the bullet and take the risk anyways.
Orange peel.
Holy!
But that color is looking beautiful!
Yeah, the orange peel we'll just fix later.
Oh yeah. God damn, that is looking beautiful.
Seeing the color on the side skirts really got my hopes up. So now we move on to taping up the car. This step is very important because if you do this wrong, then you will get overspray, which makes the whole job look unprofessional. One thing I would have done differently here was tape up the headlights opposed to covering them with plastic, because the plastic allowed the clear coat to seep through. This isn't an issue on windows because you can just scrape off the overspray with a razor blade, but make sure you're extra careful not to scratch your windows, especially the windows that are affected by your defrost setting on your car. One of the tricks I used was to tape all of my edges up, and then when I was ready to tarp over the car, I taped the tarp to the tape that was already laid down. This way, I didn't have to fight the tarp at all. Because we still have to prep the entire car, we need to do our dent removal and gouge removal now. This process requires us to sand all the way down to bare metal and reform the body with Bondo. You would then have to follow this up with primer, as Bondo isn't the best thing for paint to bond to. Now that we have removed the defects in the body of the car, we can start sanding down the rest of the paint like we did to the side skirts. I unfortunately didn't get my initial reaction seeing my car being sanded on camera, but my buddy went and started sanding my car without me knowing. It was a very emotional experience for me, despite not even owning the car for an entire year. But now, there's really no turning back. So we sand the entire car initially with 800 grit, then follow it up with 2000 grit. After 2000 grit, we blow off the entire car, then wipe it with isopropyl alcohol to ensure no dust is left on the vehicle. After ensuring there is no more dust on the car, we start priming the spots that were hit with Bondo. We also primed the entire bumper as the original paint was flaking off already. Hindsight being 2020, we should have and could have primed the entire car. But I only ordered 1 quart of primer and wasn't expecting it to lay so thick, requiring only 1 coat. So, it's been a long time coming. I think this is like hour 36 or something. I'm not even, it's probably not been that long.
It is hour. Hang on, I can tell you.
I've been up for 36 hours, but this is hour like 25 or so.
It's 5 o'clock.
Yeah, so this is hour 25 of actually working on this project. I have gotten no sleep.
I've gotten 30 minutes.
All right. We are currently cleaning this. The car's primed for the most part. We are trying to get paint mixed up so we can put color on the car. I already mentioned the strategy when I was doing this, the rocker panels. The strategy is going to be the same, just, with the entire car. With the car all prepped and primed where it was needed, we could start laying paint. The strategy I used is the same as every other part we have painted so far. The only difference is that we are now painting the car. It is very important that you pay attention to what your paint is actually doing. While we painted, the electric gun wasn't spraying wet enough. It didn't help that we were like 2 feet away from the car, opposed to 6 to 8 inches like you're supposed to be. So if you're doing a project like this, keep in mind the distance the nozzle is from the panel you're painting. Having painted most of the car with the gun too far away caused the paint to spray very dry and blotchy. This means that after we are done spraying paint, we need to level it and recoat it. Unfortunately, we didn't catch this until it was almost too late. Hey guys, welcome back. I am, well, it's a new day. I went to bed for about 12 hours after pulling, an all-nighter. I was up for like 36 hours from Friday all the way into Saturday. We're going to be finishing up the car today. We'll be able to do just about everything outside of buffing the car. It looks like I might need to put another very, very light coat of paint on the car here. We'll see. I have 2000 here. I'm gonna wet sand. I'm probably not gonna record all of it because I only have an hour left of space on my SD card in terms of recording, and I definitely want to get the end results and stuff in the process of buffing and clearing the car. So basically what I'm gonna do, I have a water bottle with a hole poked in the top. The idea is to just keep the panel wet, keep the sandpaper wet, and then very, very, very lightly we're gonna sand. And actually what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go grab a sanding block to wrap that sandpaper around to help keep the pressure even. So, yeah. So do you remember what I said about the paint laying very dry and blotchy? This caused us to need to flatten it to get a good clear coat result. The reason is because if you ignore it and spray clear over the paint, you will need many, many coats to get the clear coat to lay flat. This will also become a problem when we go to spray the clear coat. And if you don't get your clear coat flat, it will show up, especially in any kind of direct lighting on the car. At this point, I had anticipated the project taking only 1 weekend. Needless to say, very huge mistake.
What's up, guys? It has been an entire week, and because we didn't get it finished, of course. So I'm not entirely sure where I left off on the recording on the GoPro right there, but I basically spent all day today. I sanded down the paint again, and just got rid of all the high spots because there were a lot of them. Found out that my buddy who was painting the car was painting way too far away from the car. So basically the paint was drying the second it touched the car, and that is not what we wanted at all. So yeah, the paint looks much better now. Honestly, the color looks better. It looks more blue. Sorry, I'm shaking. I think for the most part I need to start spraying clear coat tonight. So at least like 2 coats. I want to try to put like 5 coats or something on here. Don't at me in the comments. I know that's like way more than anyone ever really does. But I have a strategy for it that I'll go over in the future when I actually get ready to clear coat the car, and I will take precautionary measures to make sure that it doesn't get diluted. I just want the paint to last the longest. It's already not in perfect condition, which is fine. I've come to accept it. My biggest gripe about how the car looked was actually the panel gaps and the fact that the car needed body work, and it still needs a little bit of body work, but not nearly as much as it did before. Right now it's kind of like the rear bumper needs a clip replaced. The passenger side fender, the retaining clip right by the door, like right here, it just broke off. It's as easy as welding it back onto its original thing and calling it a day. So small stuff like that. And then this car is basically gonna look like it's never seen an accident in its life. So
The moment of truth. This is where the project either turns for the better or the worse. I did my best to try to correct the paint, but without having extra paint, it was very difficult to get it perfectly flat. And because the paint isn't flat, the clear coat isn't going to be flat either, meaning I'll have to do a lot of sanding to correct that. With that being said, the clear coat I was using really brought out the color of the car, and I absolutely loved the color.
So I just got done spraying the 3rd coat of clear. This is how it's looking. Very beautiful in my opinion. And that's gonna be a little hard to demonstrate this, so let me turn the lights off. Basically, with the right kind of lighting, it goes pretty much black, which I like. It's obviously not black. That's not what I was going for, so, you know. But I think it's cool how, like, depending on, like, the circumstances of the lighting, you can get different shades. Like, so, like, the sun is beating on it. Most likely it's going to look similar to what my car looked like before, because it has a lot of metallics in it. It's going to be a little bit of a deeper blue still, but it'll look a little bit similar. But when it's darker, it gets a little bit like purpley, royal blue, navy, and honestly, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I love this color 100%. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. Now the clear coat has to cure for 24 hours at least before I can buff it and start putting the car back together. I think the first coat was medium, which I have a video of me doing. And then I did 2 more coats. The second coat was, I tried to go heavier. And then the 3rd coat, I tried to put on as much clear coat as I could without causing drips. Because I don't know how thick the clear coat is. I'm very proud of myself for doing a good job on the clear coat, and I'm very happy with how this project has turned out overall. I will see you guys tomorrow when I come back to buff the paint. So, see you guys then.
Now that the clear coat is laid down, I need to try my best to flatten it. Unfortunately, this turns into a race against time, and with some extra help, the project takes a turn for the worse. So it has been quite some time. I'm obviously not in a barn. I'm in my dorm room. I think it's been 3 weekends, I want to say. So a lot of things have happened, and I am entirely out of GoPro footage count, like time on my SD card. So I will instead be describing it here on my phone. So I hope you guys can hear me fine. So basically, the very first weekend when me and my buddy Caden were doing all of the work, we ran into an issue with our time. We basically got all of the paint laid down, I think, and then we had to, there's gotta be a way I can prop this phone up. But then we ran into issues where, I think I just straight up ran out of time and I had to go back to school. But we were able to get the paint on, and the last time I had talked to you guys, we did a coat of clear coat and we're buffing it. We ended up having to redo the coat that I sprayed, and I ended up going to buy an actual air spray gun. And if you guys are deciding to do like a project like this on your own from the beginning and you have no tools, I highly recommend you buy an air spray gun and a regulator, especially if you have an air compressor at home already. There's only going to be a slight issue, and I can't speak for sure 100% on this because I did not have this issue. My grandpa has a 150, that's not right. He has a 50-gallon air compressor, so he did not have air issues when we were using an air gun. But when you're using like a garage air compressor, the tiny 5-gallon ones, you might have to wait for your air compressor to catch back up, which is fine. It just means you take longer on your project. But the results between I bought a $20 Harbor Freight air gun, and the results were night and day difference compared to the electric gun. Just go buy the air gun, and make sure you have an air regulator. We didn't use an air filter, but if you really wanted to be really good about it, you'd probably do pretty well with a moisture filter or an air water filter on your air lines to get the moisture out. But we basically tried to get most of my clear coat flat, but what ended up happening, and I'll throw a picture up on screen, is the clear coat got really, really it had a lot of low spots. And truth be told, I actually don't think it was so much as the clear coat's fault. I think it was more the paint's fault, because we tried to get it pretty flat, and then I had another guy who had experience spraying cars in clear coat. I had him spray it just so I could get, I wanted to be done with the project and I wanted to have a good result, something I could be proud of, even if I didn't necessarily do it myself, because I'm still learning. Now, if you guys do have an electric spray gun already, I think you can get away with it. Honest to God. Seriously, I think you can get away with it. You just have to keep in mind how far away you are from the panel, because when Caden, if you recall, Caden sprayed the paint, the majority of the paint, and he was probably a good 2 or 3 feet away from the panel. You're supposed to be this far. So he was way too far away from the panel, and what that caused to happen was the paint would dry on contact with the panel and it wouldn't level or anything like that. So I feel horrible because I wasn't able to record all of it. My GoPro footage storage would not allow me to do that. Yeah, this has been yesterday was Sunday, today is Monday, May 4th. We started this project April 17th, so it has been 3 weeks since we've started this project, and I've been working on it every single weekend. But the color looks amazing. I am very, very pleased with the color. It was easy to work with, aside from the fact that I was, inexperienced in using a gun. Just, if you're gonna do this on your own, keep in mind your distance away from the panel. It's daunting, it's time consuming, but it's not impossible. And I'll give you guys a hint. I had the work quoted, like all the body work and stuff that we did quoted. They wanted $15,000 for it. And personally, I don't think the work that was done is worth $15,000. Real quick before I go, I will let you know what my future plans are regarding the clear coat. If I am going to, have someone respray it, or if I'm gonna do it myself. It'll probably be a little bit before anything like that happens. But I'm sure there'll be another video finishing the project.
I don't have much footage of the final stages of the project, but after I finished with college for the semester, I went on vacation with my girlfriend. I checked on the car before I left, and it looked very nice. Not perfect, but acceptable and to my liking. However, I came back to an unfinished project. My extra help decided they needed to put another coat of clear coat on the car, without running it by me first. And they sprayed the last coat worse than I sprayed with a spray can. Not to mention, more than half of the car wasn't even buffed. And the cherry on top, clear coat had soaked through the plastic wrap onto my headlights and my windows and windshield. I didn't realize how bad the paint job was until much later after I detailed my car. Could I get away with buffing the missed spots? Probably, but all of the runs left over from the last coat will not go away, without sanding at least.
So, I'm back now. It's been some time, and to be fair, I've driven the car, so keep in mind, it's gonna be dirty, very dirty. Especially because I think the buffing compound is still on the car. So keep that in mind. It's gonna look a little hazy when I do these next clips, but maybe what I'll do when I get home is I will clean the car and do another kind of montage and include the cleaned up car. I said a lot throughout this video. This has kind of been a long video, but again, there's just imperfections. Not really much I can do about it right now. I ran out of color. I know what I would do differently if I were to do this project again. So, and I'd probably get a better result, much better result. So without further ado, let's roll the montage of the finished product. So I just finished doing my main wash on my detail. And it is very apparent that the guy who I had doing the painting, buffing, and sanding missed a lot of spots. In fact, he missed an entire side of the car when it came to the buffing. So the good news is it's sanded and it's pretty flat. The bad news is it's not buffed and it looks very, very bad. The good news, again, is though, the paint, for the most part, is flat, especially on the part where it was sanded. It just needs to be buffed, and it's gonna have to wait probably a few weeks or so before I can actually get my own buffing wheel, let alone the pads. I have the compound already, but I don't have my own buffing wheel, so it's gonna have to wait a little bit. So with that being said, let's wrap this video up, and I'll show the paint of the car off later when it's done. The hood looks amazing, by the way, so just keep in mind that there's still spots on this car that need a lot of buffing. So
let's get on with that montage.